Hey guys, it's Editing Michael here. I just wanted to say that basically this video, it's no joke. I really did improve my tactical ability overnight, and it kind of stemmed from this like really in-depth conversation I had about tactics and positional chess with a couple of my viewers. And yeah, I really wanted to just share this with you guys in a video because I think for some of you out there who might not be, intrinsically getting these tactics just intuitively, I think it will really benefit you guys, just like it's benefited me. So enjoy the video.
Right. So what's the situation like? 4 5 6, 3 4 5. Okay, we're pawn up, opposite color bishops. So whoever's gonna be attacking is probably gonna be more promising here. What candidate moves do we have? Got queen takes h2, queen d4 check. Any other checks? No. Got queen takes c3, queen takes e4, queen takes f5, knight takes e4. Bishop takes f5. Bishop takes f5 looks quite promising, actually. Maybe we can open up this file somehow. Then in terms of threats, maybe, I don't know, d5 is one option. I don't really know. So, okay, let's go one by one. So queen h2 makes no sense. Queen d4 check. Let's say king h1. I mean, he's got alternatives there, but do we actually achieve something here? We don't have any follow-up checks, so I feel like queen d4... I don't know. I mean, queen d4, if king h1, maybe we can still play this knight takes e4, but kind of begs the question, why not just play knight takes e4 first? You know, if they play rook e2 or something, we can always bail out with like some queen d4 after, potentially. So, yeah, it feels like queen d4 doesn't really help. Knight e4. We win this pawn. We hit the bishop. Maybe also the knight is now controlling f2, so maybe there's potential for some queen d4 stuff that might be even stronger, but I'm also not so sure. Also, how strong is it really? Like knight e4, queen e4, rook e4, bishop f6? Looks a bit scary to me. So okay, what about this bishop f5, which looked intuitively like quite nice, right? Like if pawn takes, maybe there we can go queen e1 check, and on queen f1 I can take the knight on c3. So that looks good, right? So bishop f5. If pawn f5, yeah, I just bloody looked at that. So bishop f5, queen f5. Well, then I can just take the knight on c3. So okay, bishop f5 looks like it's winning a pawn. Do we have any other like forcing ideas? Bishop f5. They could try bishop f6, but I can always just play queen takes f6. I think bishop f5 is the answer. Looks really strong to me. I just take this knight. Let's go! Let's go! Right, let's have a look. So, hey Michael, so when I was watching your stream, when I realized why you weren't improving as much as other people when training tactics, first of all, I got surprised when I realized the only times I saw you were negative is when facing a difficult tactic. You're always like, oh, I just don't like tactics anyway, I'll just play simpler chess. And although it's true that tactics are difficult, I think you should think about it in a different way. Some people say that chess is 99% tactics, load of bullshit, that quote. And even though that statement isn't really true, oftentimes the outcome of a game is decided by a tactic. Whether the attacking side has found, then he will win, or he did not found and lost all his advantage, or even got into a losing position. The opposite can happen too. The defending side can turn the game completely in his favor if he was under pressure but found a tactic that gave him a winning advantage. So I think you should think about tactics as a real tool that will be useful to you 100% in your games. Personally, I think that tactics are the most beautiful aspect of chess, finally using our pieces to gain a winning advantage, which will lead me to the second point. So I completely agree how important tactics are. I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing how important it is, and I wish I could make it used as a tool to win me games. But my point is that I find that when I try and put myself in these positions, I don't succeed as often as I would like. Like for sure, if I could be tactically stronger, absolutely. Like I think it's a very important tool. That's probably the most important tool. I completely agree with this. But yeah, I don't know. It's like saying like, I don't know, a guy who's disabled in a wheelchair being like, oh, you know, walking is really, really useful. It's like, thanks, man. Like, I appreciate walking is useful, but it's like, you know, how to walk is the question in a situation where you're disabled. It's like, it's really not easy for me. But okay, let's have a look at how we can do this. So tactics are action. When a tactic is on the board, it means it's time to use our pieces. So this is something that I'm actually pretty good at. Maybe I've been doing it less so in my games, but in the past I've been very, very good at sensing when there's a tactic in the position. Like I have a really good feeling of like when the position is such, when it's a critical moment and it's time to find the right tactic. My problem is actually finding the tactic. I can feel that the tactic is there and just not see the tactic. So when a tactic is on the board, it means it's time to use our pieces. We can win the game. Now it's just a matter of finding how to deliver the decisive blow. By action, I mean forcing moves. And this is something you really struggle to do, I found by watching your streams. For example, you're going to laugh when you see that. The moment I had the realization of the reasons you struggled with the tactics of 4625 of day 157. Let's go there. Screw it, let's go there. For the record first, I can show you so many games where I have literally completely butchered a game based on tactics, where I can sense that it's the right way to continue, and I completely dismantle. I mean, a really extreme case actually. Let me just pull this up. I actually prepared these games for you first. I was gonna show you these later. I want to show you two different games, right? Okay, let's see this. So this is the first game where basically I played a Benoni, basically played it on positional means. I understood the position, traded one minor piece. He played A5 when he probably shouldn't have. I get this open B file. We get into some trades. And, you know, you might think these are tactics. They're not really. It's just kind of like, you know, obvious moves in the position. We get this combination. We get opposite colored bishops in a middle game. So whoever attacks is going to win. I traded queens because I felt like actually my rook on d2 was useful. I basically won a pawn. I established my bishop on a very useful square. I then started pushing my pawns. I saw that and my opponent found a tactic, right? This was the only moment he found a tactic, which I hadn't seen. This is quite clever, right? Because I can't take because of check. I can't really take here because what can he do? He can take, he's threatening the queen. I have to take him and he takes. And then we've probably got a drawn endgame, right? But then I realized it doesn't work because I can play rook b8 and I've got back rank ideas. So he was the one to do a clever tactic. I was basically reacting to the tactic and found a way to actually exploit the fact that his tactic doesn't work, and he resigned because he can't deal with the fact that I'm going to win a pawn and threaten checkmate. So this game, I didn't have to use my tactical brain at all. I was basically reacting to his one and only tactic in the game. And for the rest of it, it was very, very flowy, very natural, just playing how the position deserves to be played without really looking for any tactics. Here is a game where I got a completely winning position, where basically I had a lot of pressure on his position. I got a great position. I even found a tactic, won a pawn. I then even won a piece. Fantastic, I won a piece in this position. I got my king safe, and okay, in fairness, I was having a bad, you know, session with my blitz. I saw that he was going to win this pawn. I didn't care. I was going to get my rooks on the 7th. I even managed to win a pawn. This is completely, utterly winning. +5, right? And in this position, I even stop him from any kind of potential, like, I don't know, checkmating kind of patterns, right? I don't know if I'm going to get checkmated by the end of this, right? So I played knight g1 to block this. And in this position, there's nothing. I played bishop e5. And in this position, okay, he's trying to be clever, right? Because the idea is that maybe if I take, you know, he can basically, you know, if I try and do a discovery, he can take my bishop kind of thing. But I realize that I can do this anyway. He can't take because basically I've got this and I'm just got double check. And this is just mate, right? So in this position, he plays king h7. I take on g7 with lots of potential attacks. I then play bishop f8. And in this position, I play rook g7, thinking that this has to be winning. And I know this has to be winning, right? I know this has to be winning 100% sure. I'm looking and looking and looking. And I'm like debating between like rook h7, rook g8, and looking at all these ideas. And I decide that rook g3 is my best bet. He just takes my bishop. Completely miss that he takes my bishop, right? And now suddenly this position isn't so clear. And suddenly I'm having to scramble this position. And, you know, I end up having no time on the clock. And basically I end up in a lost position and lose the game, right? Right? Plus 200 position, this position, right? And the interesting thing is this decision to sacrifice the knight is completely correct. In this position, rook g7 is the correct move. And this is mate in 4. But I don't see the mate in 4. I was calculating rook h7 and I didn't see it. I didn't see it and I lost the game as a result. So compare these two games. This game I didn't use tactics at all, easy win. This game I, you know, used tactics multiple occasions and I lost. And okay, you can say that, okay, like, you know, this is just one game, but no. I've played so much chess to the... My folder of games is probably this thick. I know the type of positions I excel in and the positions that I don't. And these kind of positions, I know it's winning and I don't find the move. I can train my tactics as hard as I can and it will still be a struggle. So I will read on for your message, but I cannot stress this enough. But this is the case. This is the case. Until recently, I had the worst score against 2200s, where I would have a +3 or more position, where I'm completely winning, and I need a final finishing blow tactic to win, and I can't see it. I literally can't see it. So this is really important to me. It's really important. Like, but yeah. Favorite endgame book? Is this a random question, Dan? We're in the deep realms of like understanding tactics and calculations, so I'll answer this another day. I don't like losing the knight. In Blitz, maybe it's your time management also. Maybe. But I don't know, in classical, you know, to even get to like these winning positions against 2200s, you have to burn a lot of time, and you often don't have much time. You just have to be strong tactically, and it's not easy just to be strong tactically, right? But okay, let's continue reading your message. I'll try and keep an open mind. So yes, you said at 46.25 of your daily 157. So let's go to that now. Let's go to that now. So live. What was it? 46.27, 46.25. Okay, so what was this position? So this was some Kappa blank tactic. Oh, this was some crazy tactic, right? Wasn't this like some? I don't even remember. Wasn't it like some like knight takes f7 and somehow winning, and that was like some long idea. I don't even know, right? Like this is really tough, right? So let's see what you say. The moment I had the realization of the reason you struggled at tactics is 46.25. The line you gave to solve the puzzle was anything but forcing moves. I suggested queen f5, bishop f6, bishop takes e4, d takes e4, knight d2. Queen f5, bishop f6 takes knight d2. Right, yeah, that looks like a reasonable line to me. So you're not doing anything. Potentially picking up a pawn is not enough. The day 158 had the same kind of mistakes, forcing moves. The classic. Okay, so let me try solve this with forcing moves, right? Let me try do forcing moves and solve the answer, right? Because I don't know what to look at. Okay, so what checks do I have? Queen h7, knight h7. No way, right? Forcing moves. Can I do some captures? Knight f7. Let's assume king takes f7. Queen f5 check. I guess king g8, bishop f6 are both candidates. So if knight f7, king f7, queen f5, bishop, king g8. I remember that this was the answer, but I don't see why. Knight f7, king f7, queen f5, king g8. Like, is this easy for you to do, Fritz? Like, do you just remember like how, like what the tactical themes are? Because I just don't see it. And I think it's so hard for like players who are like, you know, not tactically stunted to just assume that it's just easy. I really, knight f7, king f7, queen f5, king g8. Do I have a follow-up here? Ah, this was the rook takes e4, pawn takes e4, and bishop c4 check. Right? Bishop c4 check, then king h8. And still I don't see the win. Although there I can maybe play like bishop takes e7 and then knight g5, threatening like knight f7 and also... No, there's no queen takes h7, there's still a knight on f8. Like, to me, it's so murky. It's so murky to try and calculate this. It's really not easy. I don't know how many forcing moves. Knight f7, king f7, queen f5, king g8. Rook takes e4 forcing. D takes e4. Bishop c4 check. King h8. Do I have a forcing move here? Maybe queen f7 threatens mate on g8. But it's just so much to consider, and we've sacked so much material. It's really difficult. I remember that's probably because I have great memory, but I have a method on how to find those moves. Right. I don't know. Let me keep reading first, and we'll come back to this. So, okay. For classic checks, captures, and attacks is simple but really effective. You should not think the move is stupid just by intuition if the move is taking advantage of a weakness in the opponent's position. But you're going to say to me, how am I supposed to look at all the moves in a game, especially in a blitz game? It's exhausting. Well, yes, but actually no, which brings me to my third point, which probably holds you back the most. Calculate more lines. Unlike positional play, since it's 100% sure that we're winning, then you just have to find it to search it. So search it. Don't think too long on a move trying to find the right one next. What do you mean by right one next? It's not a positional position, so try a lot of different lines of calculation. You'll see, yeah, that's actually one good point. I don't really calculate enough, I think. You'll see some patterns emerge and ideas popping into your head as you familiarize with the position, but then you'll find the correct move order. For example, I play games and I feel a tactic. I calculate 5 or 6 variations that are 3 to 4 moves long at least in less than 10 seconds until I can make it work. But how, where, and how to feel a tactic? Look for weaknesses in your opponent's position, a square, such piece. Yeah, so really evaluate the position, understand what's going on, and then just calculate more. Yeah, probably I can. But I don't know, I feel like I'm slow when I calculate. And it's not like even, let's say, a matter of training. It's just I find it difficult. I find it really difficult to just look. Like knight f7, king f7, queen f5. Yeah, I need to calculate bishop f6. I need to calculate king g8. But I can't just do it. Like I feel like there's just too much going on. It's like almost like my brain gets overloaded. Like maybe that's something that you don't find so much, but in life I feel like my brain gets overloaded so much, and I just completely short circuit. Like I really find my brain gets overloaded quickly. Yeah, that's the slowness that holds you back. I would say the one time where it has improved is not through doing middle game tactics like Woodpecker, but it's when I did the Dvoretsky pawn endgames and I calculated every single puzzle with my coach Nicola at the time. And really, like, already I can say certain moves. Like, let's say I say like queen f5. Obviously now I'm doing it really slowly. Like knight takes f7, king takes f7, queen f5, king g8, rook takes e4, pawn takes e4, bishop c4, king h8. I can say these moves and see the moves very fast. Before, you wouldn't believe, I was even slower. I would have to go like knight f7, king f7, queen f7, king g7, king g8, I mean. Where are all the pieces, rook e8? So, you know, I was even slower. Back then. But this is the thing, the speed does not come naturally to me. I mean, I was that slow back then and I still had a rating of 1900. because I literally pushed the game in an even more extreme way to my strengths. And basically, I mean, when I got to 1900 FIDE and like 2050 ECF, my skills as a player was like 1700. Like, not gonna lie. I was completely overrated, but also not overrated. I basically just played in a style that led to really good results for me. So I think maybe I was like capped at that level, and now I'm a lot less capped. But still, I need to be smart about my decisions with this, because it's really not as easy. Okay, read the rest of the message. Okay, let's go. So, okay. So square/piece that's only defended by a king, a loose piece, a color complex that's weak, and so on. And use the pieces in an active way. Do something with your pieces, forcing moves, checks, captures, attacks. Do not calculate one line deeply until you quickly check all the other candidate lines. Maybe it's not necessary to spend 30 minutes evaluating that drawish endgame position that arises after exchange when a much better possibility is available. Yeah, this is the whole Lasker look for a better move, right? So keywords, candidate lines. I saw that every time you try to solve a puzzle, you check 2 or 3 lines and then go deeply into one line. But exactly, that's what I do. Trying to figure out if it's winning or not. What you should do is calculate a lot more lines. Maybe there are only 2 or 3 moves that could make sense, but with those 2 or 3 moves, are at least 10 or more candidate lines that could exploit a weakness. Yeah, I don't think I've ever looked at 10 lines. But how to narrow down your opponent's resources to defend their position, look at the most uncomfortable move that your opponent can play, and that's usually their best try to defend the position. Interesting, right? And only the most uncomfortable one. If you see more than one uncomfortable one, great. It gives you another line to calculate. How to calculate more lines? Here's my 4th point. And on this one, you should not have real difficulty, so I'll keep it short. Visualization is key. If you can see the pieces move, you'll calculate faster, or the small variations must calculate better. Yeah, I feel like my visualization's alright. Also, as I've said, okay, 1 point to draw from this is calculate more short lines. But in this position, right, this position, I don't know how many other lines to calculate. Knight f7 is one, queen f5 potentially is another. Maybe bishop takes e4, but it doesn't really do too much, I feel like. Like, what else? How am I supposed to get to 10 moves here? Maybe bishop h6 is worth considering. Like, it potentially weakens the king slightly. Maybe bishop takes e7, so I can bring the other knight in. But it's just like, I can see the ideas, but it's just like, there's so much resistance to being able to just calculate it. Like, let's say this bishop e7, for instance. Bishop e7, queen e7... Knight g5. Maybe they just go f6. And maybe that's the end of my line. And then I can dismiss it and move on. I don't even know. Like, to me, I just want to deeply calculate this knight takes f7 because it feels like it's right. Calculate lines to try and find ways to activate more pieces to attack. Right. Find more ways. Yeah. This is the thing as well, though. It's like, I don't like attacking the king. I don't like defending the king. I don't like attacking the king. So it's like, you know, how does this this kind of like thought process apply to positions where you're not attacking the king? Like, where you need to calculate, but it's not involving the king. Exploit a weakness in the opponent's position. Yeah. Yeah, now you say it like that, maybe knight f7 makes more sense, right? We're just simply exploiting a weakness. Maybe I need to think more in this kind of way. But yeah. Do every move with purpose. When you have time, try to explain to yourself why. At the end of a tactic lies a winning advantage. Right. I mean, that's the dream, right? It's not always the case, but I guess with the woodpecker method exercises there are. Yeah, so I mean, basically what I can understand, Frizz, is that this kind of like, these points that you're making, I guess like you have a better grasp on how to find the winning move in a critical position. Better than I do. But the question is like, is this something I can really improve a lot on or not? I mean, like, there will be times where I will need to execute it well. But also I feel like, you know, in an actual game, when it comes to that moment where I really need to execute it and I really need to find that move, I feel like I actually do okay. Because, you know, I understand it's a critical moment. I realize it's not come up that often. I can really exert myself and do what you're saying. Like, what you're saying, like, a lot of it does make sense to me, right? I think I can do it. The problem comes is when I'm doing something like woodpecker method and I'm just having to do critical position after critical position after critical position, I burn out so quickly because it's really draining for me to do the step-by-step process. Like compared to, let's say, you know, the queen end game that we played, right? When I was making all these moves that was like slow grinding you, this is easy for me. This isn't draining at all. And I felt like I could sense when you were making weak moves, when you were kind of like just kind of floundering a bit, and I could really grind. It felt very natural to me. Whereas maybe these positions for you feel less natural compared to a critical position. So I think everyone has their strengths, and this really burns a lot of energy for me. Yeah, woodpecker builds up endurance for sure. And I feel like I have got a bit sharper by doing the woodpecker, but for sure, yeah, I mean like this premise, right, at the start where you're saying like, you know, I'm doing this tactics training and I'm not improving as much as you expect, right? This at the start, right? Improving as much as other people. The reason being, I think, is not necessarily because I'm training completely wrong, but the fact is I'm just worse at tactics and, you know, improving at tactics intrinsically as a person. So, I mean, you know, you can say this as like some negative, like closed mindset, right? Like instead of like some growth mindset. But I think in a way, like I am really trying to understand my chess, and I think to be able to appreciate your strengths and your flaws is a very growth mindset attitude. And I think like, yeah, this understanding helps a lot because it means that I can play more games like this where I completely crush my opponent without having to try, and less games like this where I basically have to resort to finding a checkmate in 4 and not blundering, and then I blunder. So it's like I can literally tailor my games to more position. Of course, I'm not going to get it every time. And of course, when I do get these positions, I'm going to be able to lock in and find this checkmate in 4 in a classical game. But I don't want to have to do this every game, because if I do this every game, I'm going to burn out. And I used to play a style of chess where I would get these kind of positions every game, and I would make blunders and mess up on occasion. Whereas if I'm playing the majority of my games like this and only a few games like this is going to help my results big time. No, your opponent cannot force if I am clever enough. If I'm clever enough to push the position into my style, which is why I play extremely stylistic openings that prevent the opponent from having as much option to push the game in their direction. I am thinking about this style more than most of my opponents. Maybe technically, maybe objectively speaking, yeah, I can't avoid it. If there was like some 3000 level stylistic player who could exactly examine what position that I wouldn't want and push me in that direction. But in terms of like this kind of aspect, I'm very, very good at. So I haven't really had this problem. Like most people aren't thinking in this way. They're just trying to play the best stockfish move and then asking themselves why they're not like winning their games, right? So I feel like this kind of practical aspect, I have an edge on most people, and this means like I'm not having a problem with my opponents forcing myself into positions that I don't want. It's normally me putting my own self into these positions because I'm not like being careful enough. And maybe it's a bad position for him, but if it's sharp, yeah, this is true. But I am even one step ahead. I will see that a position is good for me, and I will decline it because I know this is a position that I might do badly in. For instance, when I played Damian Lemos, the Grandmaster in my Simul, there was a position where I knew he could play a move and I knew it was bad. But it would get very, very sharp. I prevented it, even knowing that my move was objectively not the best move in the position. I could play a better move in the position, but allows this dubious move, which I knew was dubious, but I prevented it. Because I knew that if I get into that dubious position, even if it's a worse move than the current position, a worse evaluation, because he's a GM and because he's better at tactics and sharp positions than I am, I will lose. Whereas if I play the move that is objectively less good, but I am getting a position that I understand well and I can match in terms of my strength with the GM, I have a better chance. Yes, it limits me, but I am limited as a person. We are all limited as people. We are human beings. We are not these divine players that have the ability to consistently play like stockfish. I understand that limits me, and I'm using that to my best ability to play better chess. I don't know if this makes sense to you, Fritz, but it makes complete sense to me, and I know for a fact this is doing me better. Because in my results in the last few months, I have been doing better. I've been performing at 21, 2200 in my tournaments, and for a reason. It's not because I've necessarily got better at, like, you know, my tactical ability and so on. I'm sure that has improved a little bit, but not to the point of, like, you know, performing at like 200 points higher. And it's really this kind of mindset of being really practical about what positions I'm going to play, what positions I'm going to get. It makes a big deal of difference. So let me finish what you were saying. So calculate more lines, yes. Visualization, yes. So I'll finish the long message by listing the kinds of puzzle I found you struggled the most to solve. Bring more pieces to the attack, aha. I've already talked about this, but you often make the mistake in puzzles of not bringing one more piece. What was the game recently I played where I brought in an extra piece? Yeah, this was one of the games I played in the stream. Like it was this position. It was this position. Let me find this. Let me find this. So this was one of the recent grind games. Let me get the exact position. And I'll show you exactly the kind of situation. Where no, it was later. It's where he castled queenside. This position, right? This position here. I felt like I did a great job of bringing the pieces to the attack, right? And basically at this moment, I felt like this had to be winning. I actually haven't checked this with an engine. And here, I just couldn't see the knockout blow. I couldn't see the knockout blow at all because, you know, this kind of knockout blow is just I'm not very good at. And then I just found very simple, bring the pieces to the attack. So this kind of position where it's a little less like concrete, just simply take on c5 and bring rook d1, this I'm good at. And then, of course, this is an even more overwhelmingly winning position, and I won the game. But already in this position, I reckon there was probably a knockout blow here. I just couldn't see it. Yeah, I know you're not forcing me to play the sharp positions, and you're just trying to diagnose what's going wrong. I appreciate this, Chris. But I'm also basically trying to justify the reason for my mentality with these things. Because I still feel like there's a part of you that is kind of like in the mindset that, you know, trying to, you know, get good at these positions and play these positions is the way for me to go. But I really don't. I don't think so. Instead of b6, maybe c6. Maybe. Honestly. Probably. Right? We can even have a look. We can even have a look at this position. Why not? Who are we playing in this game? It was Bako. Let's see. Bako. Let's check this game. Self-analysis. And let's have a very quick look. Yeah, so this position again, completely winning. I had to grind this position out because I couldn't see the knockout blow. Like bishop d6, like you could say this is a forcing move, and yeah, this should be calculated. So let's calculate. The bishop d6, queen d6. What on earth is the point? I've just lost the bishop. Like to me, I don't see any follow-up. I do not see a follow-up here. Bishop takes d6, queen d6. Forcing move, I give a check, queen d8. Queen e6, giving a check. Okay, maybe there's something here. Maybe this, queen d7. If I take the queen, they can take with knight. So where's the win? So let's have a look. Let's see how forcing this line is. Bishop d6, queen d6, queen e8, queen d8. Just the other forcing move, right? I just can't see it. I just can't see, like, the idea of queen d8. Like, maybe this is the point what Argad was saying as well. Like, right? Calculate more slowly. Yeah, exactly. Queen e8, queen d8, just pick up the rook, right? I don't see it. And you could say just look at the forcing move religiously, but it's like I need to first work out that it's a forcing move. It's not instant for me. It's really not instant for me. Watch which pieces defend which. Yeah, maybe, okay, if I'm playing the game, I appreciate the king is the only piece defending the rook, and then I'm already looking to displace this. But already these kind of deflection tactics, like I remember like training these, I'm not good at them. I'm really not good at them. Yeah, I can logically see it, but it's just like when I'm trying to calculate, it's not coming to me. And definitely not coming to me the same way that I'm able to play these other positions, like this Benoni game that I played, or even like the queen endgame grind against you. Like some people would think that the queen endgame grind would be much harder to play intuitively, but for me it's much easier. And these kind of forcing positions are much harder, so yeah. But yeah, I'm not surprised that there's a win here, because I feel like there's a win, but I can't find it. I can't find it. Like now that I see it, now I can't unsee it, right? But it's so difficult. It's so difficult for me. Yeah. So, removing the defender, and I found that this kind of tactic is difficult for you because of another problem you have. I promise it's the last one. For example, at the end of the line, you saw that your opponent's king was in the center. You thought, oh, the center is a bad place for the king. I must be winning. Well, no. The actual thing to find in puzzles is how to decrease the opponent's defending power. Less pieces able to defend the king, or increasing our attacking pieces by bringing more pieces in the attack. If the king gets in the center, but all the forcing moves that you can play up can be blocked or neutralized by the opponent, then that means you did something wrong. Because most of the time in puzzles, we have to get material. We have or get a material disadvantage. So if the opponent can survive our attack and survives an important work, then they'll be fine. Right. Yeah, to me, like, yeah, that kind of like hustle for that material grind is, I mean, material advantage, it's just, I want, like, for me, I prefer reaching a position where I know how to play and continue the advantage and play for the win, as opposed to just having that, like, yeah, I've won a piece or something. Yeah, how convenient. Bishop takes d6 as a deflection tactic. Yeah. Just, I mean, I'm pretty sure I saw bishop takes d6 and I just couldn't make it work in the game. I'm pretty sure I saw. We can even check. You know what? Let's put my money where my mouth is. Let's even see. Like, what did I even calculate here? So what, in this position, is this the position instead of knight c4? Was it after knight c4? Yeah, in this position, bishop d6 is winning, right? Instead of knight c4. So what did I play here? All right, let's listen what I said. Bishop takes could be a move. If queen takes, rook takes, king takes, queen. See, what am I calculating here? I'm literally looking at a capture here instead of a check. Check. This forces either king c6 or king here. Do I have a follow-up? And that's the thing. My intuition with these kind of like knockout blows are often wrong. And then this wastes a lot of time. And it's like, okay, maybe you can argue that bishop takes, queen takes, rook takes, king takes, queen a7. I should already stop there and be like, okay, do I have anything else? Do these kind of like calculate as many shorter variations as possible as opposed to delving into something deep? Yeah, maybe this is something I really need to do. Maybe this point, Frizz, is really important. Yeah. Maybe let's just play it slow. Let's just bring the knight in as well. Because here, yeah, because this is my logic, right? Like here I'm bringing another piece into the attack. If I can't find a knockout blow immediately, then it's definitely going to be working if I have an extra piece in the attack, especially given how uncoordinated Black's defense is. Yeah, checks first, then captures and last attacks. I mean, you know what, Frizz? I don't know if you know this about me, but I literally didn't hear about checks, captures, threats as a concept. I literally didn't know about this until 2021. I had been playing chess for 12 years by that point. 12 years of not knowing checks, captures, threats. How did I even play chess? I got to a level of 2050 ECF. I got to a level of 1900 FIDE without knowing checks and captures and threats. And you wonder why this doesn't come intuitively to me. Because it's not like... I've played 12 years of a different game. So it's not easy for me to just switch. It's really not easy. And the funny thing is, I'm not the only one who didn't know about this checks, captures, threats. There's a guy at my local club, Henderson. He's like 1900 ECF. I told him last year about chess captures threats and his mind was blown. He was like, no way. No wonder he's like struggling with these like finishing blow tactics just like me. Because he doesn't know chess captures threats, right? It's crazy. Right, your position is so superior, there's not a unique solution, right? But yeah, I take your point, but there will be times that it is, and therefore there I need to be looking at even more forcing lines. I don't look at enough forcing lines. That's fair. So okay, I'll make a note of this, right? These are two, like, look when calculating calculate faster multiple short variations before delving deep into any one line. And the second thing I said there was really aim to calculate the forcing lines starting with checks even if the line isn't in your immediate intuition. I think these 2 points, yeah, I do understand what you're saying, Frizz. I can definitely try and improve on this. Yeah, so just to read it out one more time. When calculating, calculate faster multiple short variations before delving deep into any one line. And the second one was really aim to calculate the forcing lines, starting with checks, even if the line isn't your immediate intuition. I think both of these points are really legit. So okay, and all of that is tied to the fact that tactics are not positional play, it's action. It's not just placing pieces like that queen f5 move, but actually doing something, exploiting a weakness in the opponent's position, in that first example, the f7 square. And finally, you asked me how I should be able to calculate tactics when I'm tired, and here's the funny thing, you don't, you just blunder. The whole point of tactics is to be sharp, sharper than your opponent. For example, personally, my strong suit is tactics, so to find tactics in the game, I play active pieces moves until I see a combination, forcing moves from afar, and then I'll work my way towards it. Interesting. And I think that's the thing. To be sharper than my opponent, I'm not such a sharp guy. In general, like, my brain is often quite fuzzy, and I can kind of, like, you know, focus when it comes to, like, making, like, positional decisions, because it's a bit more like kind of having a conversation. Whereas, like, the kind of, like, raw calculative lines, I really don't have the stamina for it, like, because it's really not my style. It's really not suited to me. It's like, I don't know, it's like, let's say someone is good at long distance running and someone is good at short distance running, and we're basically talking about, okay, you need the energy for short distance running, and hey, a long distance runner can try to do a sprint, but it's just not natural, and therefore they're just going to burn out faster. And sure, that long distance runner can do training day in, day out to do and become a short distance runner. But at the end of the day, they're a long distance runner by nature. It's literally this. I really like this short distance, long distance runner analogy. So short versus long distance runner is like this parallel between tactical versus positional player. I really think I really feel like it's the same. And the annoying thing is that with a lot of different sports, let's say short distance or long distance, you can basically just choose the type of running that suits you best. If you're a short distance runner, you do sprints. If you're a long distance runner, you do marathons. But in chess, you have to do everything. And what I'm trying to do is tailor the game so that I can be a long distance runner and just have long distance chess. And try and avoid as few of the short distance instances as possible. And I think more people than not actually have you know, more people than not actually have a tendency to being either a positional player or a tactical player, or an intuitive player or a calculative player. Like all of these little like these spectrums, right? You will find that a lot of players are not just good at both. They're not just bang smack in the middle. They're also not just good at both. They're actually kind of extreme. And I think it therefore makes sense if you can tailor the game into a way that plays into your extremes, that is going to be beneficial. So I still think the way I'm doing things is right, although I take everything you're saying, Frizz, about the certain actual technical aspects of how I can improve my weaknesses. You know, ultimately, I'm not going to be able to avoid it at all. You know, this is chess we're talking. We're not, you know, I can't just play on a team. Let's say, like Frizz, if we could play as a tag team and play in some tournaments, and I could basically, you know, be the voice of positional chess and you could be the voice of these kind of crushing blows. Oh, we would make a great team, right? But unfortunately, chess is completely solo. You have to do it all on your own, right? So ultimately, yeah, a lot of this advice is very useful, and I need to try and practice in future. But it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot to actually start doing this properly. Yeah, but I'll keep reminding myself, and I think if we keep doing these streams, and every time I do this wrong, every time I delve deep into a line when I'm not supposed to, every time I'm not calculating forcing lines, if you just shout that out, those 2 points for us on stream, and be like, Michael, you know, stop doing that, do the right thing. Maybe over time, maybe after a year, I could see some change. I feel like your positional level is around 21, 22, but your tactics are 1600. That's so rough. So there's an aspect you can improve faster than the other. But the point is, I disagree. Just because the rating is low doesn't mean that it's easier to improve. In general, yes. But if you've been trying to improve that level and it's still stuck at 16, why is it easier to improve? I could easily say that the 21, 2200 FIDE, maybe that could be 2400. Maybe that's easier for me. I don't think just because the rating is low. 1600 is definitely harsh. Yeah, I don't even know. I think nowadays 1600 would be harsh. 2-3 years ago, not even. I mean, I had some horrific blunders in my over the board chess from making the absolutely god awful tactical decisions. Just because, yeah, my tactics were just absolutely horrendous. I think they are better now, though. I think they are better now. But also, okay, I think Frizz is also saying FIDE, right? 1600 FIDE. And ultimately, yeah, I'm playing Turkish juniors who are like tactically better than me, and they're 1600. So, you know, it's like, it's fair in some ways as well, you know? When I was 1600, my tactics were better than him, so that's how I thought about rating. Fair. Yeah. I mean, but at the same time, I think like when you were 1600, you were relying solely on your tactics, so probably your tactics are like 1800, right? 1800, positional chess 1400, so you level out at 1600. But anyway, it really doesn't matter about the numbers. I really couldn't care less. But yeah, it's just interesting. It's just interesting about, yeah, how certain people are just built different. And that's why chess is just so much fun. It's just so much fun. But okay, by the way, all this information isn't just my own imagination. I watched content of the topic. All the best piece of content I found on the chess world. Okay, awesome. I do like the chess world. And chessfox.com. I've never heard of chessfox.com. I have also asked Masters about it. And to be sure I wasn't saying anything stupid, I even asked GM Ben Feingold. Although his reply wasn't very helpful, I'm not sure. Yeah, 3 words. But anyways, hope that helps. You get through that mental barrier of I can't improve the tactics. And hopefully makes you understand the tactics are actually beautiful, simpler than they seem. Simple, yes. Easy, no. I think that is the answer. Like you can train tactics. The concept of it is very simple. To actually do it, is it easy? Not for everyone. And the mental barrier of I can't improve at tactics. I feel like my barrier isn't I can't improve at tactics. I feel like my barrier is I find tactics much harder to improve at than other things. And I think that is realistic. I think that is fair. But can I still improve? Yes. And actually reading this message and delving into, you know, checking out my games, checking out the analysis, checking out like my comments here, checking out like the differences of these games, doing this whole process, right? this, I think, was valuable. And I took out these really two useful points about my calculation, and that's already something good, right? So basically, yeah, firstly, thank you so much, Fritz, for this message, because I mean, this conversation of tactics is really, really refreshing. And okay, let's see. So what this is this a course or is this just an article? I think this is just an article, right? Oh, do we read this now? Maybe I read this later. It's quite late already. Fuck it. Let's just read it now. Improve your calculating ability step by step. Even though calculation of variation is a difficult thing to train, how many books? Okay. Special, the opening stage, or prepared, yada 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 yada. How do you actually find the strongest move? Figure out the best candidate moves. Ideally, right at the opening. Yeah, the trick is not to find all possible calculated moves by common sense. One or two strongest continuations are deeply calculated. That is different to what you're saying, Frizz. Frizz, you're saying like look at every kind of possible move that like makes sense and calculate them shortly, which I kind of agree with you. I kind of agree with you more that that's going to be more beneficial. Quick lines 1, 2 moves deep. Eliminate poor variations. Yeah, so maybe that's actually kind of what you're suggesting for us. Like for players who can't just like see the strongest moves. Final candidate moves, calculate appropriate variations, evaluate final positions. Like, yeah. Practical tips. Don't find the move, find a short line. Okay, yeah, I like that. Do not calculate one line deeply until you check all the other candidate moves. So that's actually contradicting a bit what he was saying here about you only need to select the 1 or 2 strongest continuations. Maybe it's not necessary to spend 30 minutes when I'm draw for endgame positions. Aha, okay, you used this actually in your explanation first. I will not complain about the plagiarism though. It was a good point. Always go simple line. Right. It's a good idea to put yourself in opponent's shoes. Right, yeah, this was the kind of thing you were pointing out about like seeing what makes you feel uncomfortable, right? Like, yeah, the goal of evaluating a position is not all possible lines. Yeah, just find the strongest move, right? So you can save time and cut your calculation, which is actually, I think this Argard book like talks a lot about these techniques of like saving time with calculation, like these kind of like shortcuts to basically being able to find the right move without having to literally calculate everything perfectly. You don't need to calculate 50 moves, yeah. Right. Yeah, most uncomfortable responses, right? This is again what you said first. Always start with calculate force continuations first. Yeah, this is a really big point. Yes, this is very important, which is what I am good at. So yeah, interesting article, very interesting article. And then this Chess Fox, how to get better at tactics. Why solving tons of chess puzzles is not optimal. Interesting. Tactical ideas. List goes on. Interference, decoy, X-ray. Study each unique pattern as a subject. Right, so I've done this in the past as well. With CTR 4.0. Also, Chess Mood has a great course on different tactics, and I was trying to do them one by one and train them like individually. So I have done this as well. Actually, how did you first train your tactics first? How did you make tactics your strongest suit? Did you also study them in terms of motifs, or did you do them just like woodpecker? Only thing I copy and pasted? Sentence was just too good. Fair. What article is this? Sorry. Yeah. So yeah, you might need to mess around with the link, Josh. Yeah, remove a dot. Nice. Study tactical position, expand your tactical vocabulary, develop your tactical awareness, fine tune. Study tactical motifs. Okay. Yeah, this was huge as well. Like there was so many mating nets that I just never knew and never seen. And actually, I was actually studying this this Magnus trainer. Like I learned a lot from that and got like a lot of information that made things a lot easier. yeah, this chess vocabulary made it a lot better. Yeah, maybe reading all of this carefully just in case I've missed anything here would be good. Yeah, interesting article. Interesting article. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Man, I am. Have I had dinner yet? I think I've had dinner. I don't even remember. I've been working so much today. I've been working so much. But yeah, this stream was amazing. I mean, maybe I crop this final section on tactics and just make a video out of it. I think it's really interesting. I'll make a note of this. Yeah, really interesting stuff. I also found a great video, maybe the best I've ever found over the last few months, about positional versus tactical play. I'll send it to you. It sounds amazing. Sounds amazing, Pris. Definitely send it to me. I have a friend of mine, he's like around 2100, who made a really good point, because he said that when he was growing up, he always viewed himself as a positional player and kind of frowned upon these kind of like tactical players. But he realized for himself that basically there's no such thing. In chess, you just need both, and both play into each other's hands, and you just need to be strong at both. And he has a point. But I still think there is still ways in which you can like emphasize one more than the other. The first thing I learned was checks, captures, threats. Yeah. Honestly, that's a great start, and I wish I had that start, but what to do? I mean, all you can do is try and fix things moving forward, improve your future. Nothing you can do about the past. And on that note, guys, I think I'm going to call it a day. So yeah, really great stream. Okay, I don't even know how many hours we streamed in the end, but this was very fun. And I'm glad to see Frizz and Josh staying until the end and you know, joining in for all this discussion. I think it's really interesting. I really do believe both you and I, Michael, are capable of being universal players based on my instinct only. I fundamentally disagree, about myself at least. Maybe you're different. I don't know, you better than you probably know yourself. And I also feel like you haven't had enough experience to know definitively yet one way or the other. And I also don't know one way or another. But for me, I've had phases of my chess career, but I've put so much work into kind of different kind of aspects and styles, but I really feel like universal chess is not for me. At least not without huge amounts of sacrifice that I'm not willing to put in. So maybe this is like a limiting factor that I would need to clarify. But yeah, I think there is a level of sacrifice that would be needed to become a universal player, which I simply cannot. And it also might be so sacrificial to the point where it's being unrealistic. Like let's say, have to train all day, every day. I have no work, I have no life, I have no nothing. I just train to be the universal player. Maybe then I can. But realistically, I'm probably jumping off a bridge 2 years in because I hate my life so much, right? So, like, I think there are limits. I think there are serious limits, and I don't think these limits should be underestimated. So, yeah, I think universal chess is not my way. It's also not the way for me in terms of being a fulfilled and happy player. I found that, like, playing towards my strengths and style, I'm such a happier player right now than I was, like, a few years ago when I was really trying to, like, push for GM, to be quite frank. Like, I was trying to play universal chess. I was trying to play the best chess. I was really trying to play the best chess I possibly could and, give myself the chance of being a GM. But it's not for me. It's not for me. And yeah. I will think of this premise more when I have more free time. Yeah. Like it's definitely yeah, an interesting topic that definitely needs some reflection. As I said, maybe it's just destined to be the next Karpov. I don't remember you saying that, Frizz. That's a very great compliment. Um, yeah, honestly, like maybe not Karpov, but maybe like Keith Arkle or something. Like I think Keith Arkle is like the best example of showing that playing into a style is something legit, right? Keith Arkle plays the same exact style, same exact positions for the last 50 years and has become a GM as a result, right? I think it's doable. I think it's really doable. Of course, he plays more universally than I do, right? He's still playing correct openings because he realizes that he can't just play, dubious openings for the sake of stylistic preference, right? He's still playing correct chess because he needs to be a GM. But okay, the fact that he's managed to make GM and still play mostly towards his style is definitely something to be said for. Like if he played in a completely different style, I am 100% sure he would have capped it like 22, 23, 100. He wouldn't have made it GM. So, there is evidence. There is evidence. A good thing to think about is that you found bishop takes d6 and instantly went on the wrong road. So, to me, I feel like maybe that instance is where like I could have done better at looking at the forcing lines more. I kind of went down the wrong forcing line. And that's also the problem with these kind of critical positions, that there are many, many forcing lines, right? The nice thing about chess is that you can tailor it how you like, exactly. And that's why chess is such a beautiful game. There's so many ways you can play it. And yeah, I really love it. I really love it. And yeah, on that note, I think we really will call it a day there. Thank you guys for tuning into the stream. We ended up going past midnight. Literally, who cares? It was a great stream. Thank you guys all for watching. And yeah, I guess I'll see you tomorrow for some more training and hopefully some more YouTube. Okay, adios guys. Have a good night.
Hey guys, it's Editing Michael again here. And yeah, actually for completing the video, I wanted to reward you with a little bonus. And that is this page of notes that I took from this discussion. And I could basically boil down the aspects that I needed to improve for my calculation into these 3 points. Basically, when calculating, calculate as many short variations as possible as quickly as possible before any deep diving into one particular line. So just some short calculation to get past everything. Number 2, really aim to calculate the forcing lines starting with checks, even if the lines don't intuitively feel right. So as you can see in that very initial exercise that I solved before going into the discussion, I was just really quick with checking all the moves that are remotely forcing. And yeah, to add on this, if the line even remotely causes potential problems for the opponent, the line should be calculated. So any kind of move that causes any kind of problem, even if it just makes no sense and it's like hardly doing anything, and it's probably not worth it, but if it somehow remotely causes a problem for the opponent, it needs to be checked. So forcing moves and problematic moves need to be checked. And finally, when you're actually calculating these force sequences, really look hard at moves that either forcefully bring in attackers or forcefully remove defenders. So I feel like sometimes with the forcing moves, I kind of like almost look at just, I don't know, trying to look for checks and captures, and I go too into that mode, and I kind of forget looking at the whole attacking principles, right, of bringing in attackers and removing defenders. And I feel like when you bring that into the calculation process, this works really well as well. So yeah, these were my final notes from the discussion. And yeah, honestly, I feel like my tactics have improved a lot as a result. And actually today, I'm feeling really tired. I've had a really long day. So I'm actually going to stream in a bit. And we'll see if I'm still able to, follow through with this level of tactical ability that I exhibited yesterday. That's going to be really curious for me. So thank you guys all for watching again, and a huge shout out to all the amazing Patreon subscribers and YouTube members that make my journey here much more possible. So really thank you to you guys, and yeah, thank you to all the viewers on these Chess Lifestyle streams as well. Like, I mean, these discussions with Frizz, like, honestly might change my chess forever. So yeah, can't thank you guys enough. Okay, cheers. See you around.